Hi there, Becky here from 168 Fitness. Over the past few weeks, I've been talking about achieving your post-summer get back into shape goals. Started in week 1 talking about setting those goals, and then we started hopefully achieving those goals, or at least making a bit more of an effort, conscious effort to take some small steps and make some small changes in order to achieve those goals. So we're early days at the moment. Perhaps you're not necessarily feeling like you're achieving the goals just yet, but hopefully you're feeling better in some ways. So it's always good to just take a moment to reflect on what you've achieved so far, even in week, are we in week 4, 5? Yeah, it's every day. If you're sticking to what you're achieving those goals, doing what you need to do to achieve those goals, then every day you should just be able to reflect and just feel good that you've made some healthier choices and yeah, getting back into routine. It's not easy, it's really simple to do, and yeah, it's something that everyone can do, getting back into your routine and achieving those goals, but it's not easy at all. So you do deserve a pat on the back for every bit of effort that you do to help you achieve those goals and step in the right direction. So anyway, so this week I want to go back to talking about exercise. Last week I was talking about nutrition, so if you're interested in that, it was quite a long video, but hopefully you picked up some useful top tips from that and have been applying the advice that I gave you. The week before that I was talking about exercise and taking the first step, or the next step really, and that was increasing your exercise, or trying to get back into doing sort of 3 exercise sessions a week, or activity at the minimum level. So activity I sort of class as things like walking, maybe just some kind of the sort of thing like kind of taking the kids to the park or something like that, playing with the kids, going out for a bike ride with the kids, something where activities like where you're not necessarily dressed for exercise. That's probably how I'd describe it. So anytime you maybe don't need a sports bra on, then that's activity. And then exercise is when you kind of get dressed for the occasion. You know you're going to get sweaty, you need your sports bra on perhaps, and you're dressed, you're in the right footwear as well. That's another thing. So yeah, exercise and activity, but both are good, and I would encourage you, if you're doing your exercise, to still be as active as possible on the other days where you're not doing an exercise session. And then if you're doing your activity, then the next step is to add in some higher intensity exercise. So this week then, in terms of exercise, yeah, I do want you to increase a little bit. So like I said, if you're doing your activity, then let's increase the intensity a little bit. Let's make it a bit more vigorous, but it doesn't have to be like super high intensity HIIT sessions. That's why I don't like calling any of my PT or classes, I don't like calling them HIIT workouts, because it puts a lot of people off. But HIIT basically means high intensity interval training, and it is one of the best ways to get you fitter, for sure, and also burning lots and lots of calories as well. But when it's high intensity, that means just high intensity for you. It doesn't have to be like super mega high intensity, fall on the floor afterwards, feel like you're dying throughout. It just means that you're working at a higher intensity for some intervals in the session, and a lower intensity for other intervals in the session. So yeah, that's what that means. So I want you to increase in some way this week. So if you have been doing sort of 1 or 2 sessions a week, you've not quite made it to that 3 times a week, I want you to really knuckle down and get 3 sessions done this week, 3 exercise sessions. If you've been doing 3 times, maybe 30 minutes, or 20 minutes. If you're doing 20 minutes, let's try and up it to 30 minutes. If you're doing 30 minutes, let's see whether you can up it to 40 or 45 minutes this week. So that might be that you add on an extra walk or jog, or on the same day, or maybe on the days that you're not doing the exercise. So say you're doing Monday, Wednesday, Saturday exercise sessions, maybe on that Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, maybe you're doing a sort of 15-minute walk as well, or jog if you're into running or want to get into running. Maybe you start to up it a little bit. Now, I don't want you to do too much too soon. It only has to be a slight increase. So it really does depend on what you're currently doing. That's why I'm a bit like, don't want to say, yeah, go out and run or do this, do that, because everyone is going to be different. So if you want personal advice, then please do contact me and I'm happy to advise you personally. If you just sort of can work it out, generally speaking, a 10% increase is good. So let's work that out. If you were doing 90, that's that sounds quite manageable, doesn't it? If you were doing 90 minutes of exercise each week with those 3 30-minute exercise sessions, then adding on an extra 9 minutes, so we could round that up to 10, couldn't we? So that's 100 minutes a week. That seems pretty manageable. So 10% is generally what I would say, but then you might find that actually if you're going to do a 10-minute workout, you might as well do another sort of 20-minute workout, 30 minutes or something like that, or just do a bit extra activity on the other days. So sometimes it is okay to increase by a little bit more than 10%. But if you were doing sort of, if you're running and you're running sort of maybe, let's say 10 miles a week you're running, then upping it by 1 mile a week, that would be fair. That's enough, because especially if you're going to increase it each and every week. And again, that's probably more that is useful, even if you're if you were adding 9 or 10 minutes on this week. If you're going to keep adding 9 or 10 minutes on each week, then maybe that is the way forward. But I would think if you're just sort of going to increase a little bit now and then we're just going to maintain it, then you might find that you can actually do a little bit more than 9 or 10 minutes. But anyway, so just increasing it slightly. Let me know if you need any specific advice on that. But just increasing slightly, or at least maintaining what you've been doing before. So, so 3 times a week as a minimum for exercise, and then adding on some activity, adding on maybe increasing the time slightly or increasing the intensity of what you've been doing. Couch to 5k as well. I didn't mention that. Usually I mention that as a good starting point. Sometimes this time of year, whilst we've still got a bit of fair weather, people like to get back into running, a bit cooler now, so get back into running using that Couch to 5k app. Personally, I've never used it because I was already running before that became available, but I'm sure I would have done when I first started running. It's helped a lot of my clients, so download that app if you want to. It starts really steady and helps you build up to running 5k, so that might be something that you do, and each week it progresses, so that's your progression sorted as well. So really what I'm saying this week is stick with what you're doing, maybe increase slightly if you can, but definitely keeping up the exercise if you want to lose some weight or get fitter or just feeling better, more energized. Autumn winter time now. So yeah, cool. I'll see you next week with some more top tips.